I remember in 1994 sitting in the seats you guys are sitting in another location. And I didn't sit there voluntarily because I was hoodwinked to kind of manipulated to be in a seat. Because a young gentleman came and asked me if I would look at an opportunity, and I asked him some questions he couldn't answer them. And how many people know somebody arrogant? How many people know somebody arrogant and broke?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where I was at. You know, I just moved up here from Chicago, and I sold all my businesses. I mean, everything was just going awry. I got married because when I had a business, I was working 7 days a week, 17 hours a day. And to have your own business in this country is really the American dream. But sometimes you own the business, but the business also owns you. Does that make sense? How many people agree with me you don't want to work for money to the point you destroy your whole family, your life doing it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And I found myself in a trap because I had choices every month to pay either my mortgage at home or my mortgage in my business. And it was very, very stressful being in that situation. You know, prior to that, I used to manage restaurants. And when I left Chicago and moved back here, starting life all over again, my background was in restaurant management. So I went right back managing restaurants. The only challenge was I was a general manager of a restaurant when I was 18, and now I'm 34. And I was very, very skeptical because I've been burnt. Does that make sense? I've been a little wounded. I had a little baggage. Are y'all with me? So a gentleman asked me to come look at a meeting. I told him I'd come, and I knew I wasn't coming. I just got ready to get him out the way. I just liked his sister. That's all that was about. Then he asked me to come again. I said, oh, sure, I'll try to come. And you say you try to do something, that means you're not doing it, right? The third time, I just said no. The fourth time, he said, let's go to TGI Fridays and have a beer. He said, I'll give you 5 runs and Atlanta Braves and take the Chicago Cubs. And I knew the Cubs were going to lose with the 5 runs, but I took the bet anyway. So it was after work. I get in this car. I think I'm going to TGI Fridays. He kidnaps me and puts me in one of these meetings. Anybody know how it feels to be someplace you just don't want to be? Like an in-law's house for the first time? For the first time. You come to love them, but for the first time. So I sat in this seat, and they introduced a guy who was 20 years old. I was like 33, 34. And that's when the arrogance kicked in because I didn't want to hear what he had to say. I'd already owned 5 different companies. And this gentleman had just got out of college. He couldn't have made a lot of money. But when he talked and had his presentation, he had so much vision. It was so compelling. At 45 minutes later, I was afraid not to at least try it. I said, because 2 things. First of all, he said somebody's going to get rich. Now, the reason I like that, anybody here still working a job? Raise your hand. See, the reason I like that because when I was on my job, all the years I worked, whether I was a manager, general manager, regional manager, district manager, we never talked about getting rich working. Are y'all with me? That was the conversation. Are y'all with me?
Yep.
You know, we talked about getting a raise. We talk about getting rich. So I like the fact that it was even possible because if on my job, if somebody said it's possible for me to make $1 million a year, how many people think I would have came in early and stayed later? Y'all with me? How many of y'all would still come in early and stay later? Because you know we do it for a 5% raise. Like, come on. Are y'all with me? So I like the fact that he said. The second thing he said that you can do it part-time. I didn't know if I believed that. Because I thought for all my life I wanted to make more money. Like if you got a job, you want to make more money, you get a part-time job, right? That's more hours. Would you agree? Yep. And you do that for a specific reason. You got something needs to be taken care of or something you desire to acquire. True? You know, so when he told me these things, I didn't know if it was true, but just in case. Because I was afraid that if I didn't try and somebody got rich and it wasn't me, I was more afraid of that than trying something. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I thought I'd put my toe in it. The only problem is it cost $500 to put my toe in. And I had $500, just didn't have it on me because, you know, I had that checking in my savings. Y'all know that story. So anyway, I didn't have the money. I was just kind of like tight at the moment. You know, I used to have a lot of money, but anybody ever heard used to be don't make no money, right? So here I am. The guy, they brought me to the guy. He said, when you want to get started? I said, as soon as possible. And he looked at me and said, there's no date called as soon as possible. And I knew that was my broke speech. That means I didn't have it right now. But Friday's coming, right? So then he said, well, seriously, when you get started? I said, well, I just got to put my ducks in a row. And I knew I didn't have no ducks and didn't know how to get them to do nothing. So I didn't know how to cook a duck. So I said, look, I got to put my money together. He looked at me, the guy was 20 years old. He looked at me and said, how long have you worked? I didn't know where he was going. I said, I worked for myself and other people for 18 years. I remember jacking my towel. He said, you mean to tell me you worked for 18 years, James, you don't have $500 to invest in yourself? Now, he didn't know me to talk to me like that. I'm from Chicago. You don't talk to people like that. Do that. But I didn't know anybody else in the room. There's 60 of them. So I said, it's okay. I'll wait for you outside. No, I ain't say it out loud. Then he said, if you go to work another 18 years, and it's just as good as the first 18, you think you're going to have it then? And that's when it hit me, and I understood the definition of insanity was to keep doing the same thing over and over.
That's right.
So he asked me, well, who can you get the money from? And I felt a little pressure, but I was thinking in my mind, well, my mother Worked for 40 years at the University of Illinois. She was executive assistant to the chancellor of the university. She's in the archives of the university. When they retired her, they ate the turkey and watched the playoff and they gave her the plaque. But she didn't have $500 because she had to. Don't judge my mother. So anyway, now some of y'all see me in the hallway. You know I'm gonna have fun with this fun tonight, and I'm not paying fun at you. Please have fun with me. Because I feel very blessed. I'm always humbled to do what I do. If anybody wants to listen to what I gotta say. So here's the thing. So my mother worked 40 years, and she had to leave, get out of work, and go back to work at the church to have additional money because, when you look at retirement, sometimes we don't think about the fact that you're only getting a third of your income, and it's not enough at 100%.
Right.
So my mother didn't have it. My mother and father divorced when I was 5, but he worked for CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. He used to drive a bus. He was cleaning the lawnmower out of his, he was cleaning the grass out of the lawnmower one time, and he leaned over and he hit the lever and lost all his fingers on his bowling hand. He bowled 4 nights a week all of his life. So all of a sudden he can't bowl and can't work because he can't drive a bus and he can't got these fingers, right? So my father didn't have it. He worked 44 years. So together, my mother and father worked 88 years. I had 18 and none of us had $500 together. Okay? So I decided to get in because I had a check. And I always pay my bills with a check without the money. Am I the only person that ever did that? I know I'm going to get paid Friday. I'll write the check on Wednesday.
Right.
Come on, you can count, right? You'll be there. I'm the only person that ever juggled. So, you can't do that now because we don't take checks. But let me say, and plus, I'm not going to ask you for any money.
We should take checks.
But, so I decided to write him a check, and that was May 26, 1994. They told me I could do it part-time. I did that. The owner of the company came to work with us, and he stayed with us for 3 months, and he selected me to be one of the 16 people here in Atlanta that he would mentor. And I just really paid attention to him, because I really needed something to happen. I lost everything. I started life all over church trying to reclaim myself. I was broken. And, it took me about 7 to 8 months. I tripled my income from my job, and I left my job January 13th, 1995, and went on to build a multi-million-dollar business all over the world. And I don't say it to impress you, because if you saw my report cards and my grades, I don't have a GPA. I never went to college. Never went. Never drove by. I didn't want to be in high school. I just wanted to be out, okay? And, I never did that. I was a D average through high school. And, it's kind of amazing that I get a chance to write books and work with psychiatrists and psychologists. They all want to write books with me. I think the world is crazy. I think, wow, if I thought it was this simple, I'd have to act like I was smart a long time ago. So, but the bottom line is that it's been really good. I was a top producer at Money Internet Company for 12 years. I left with myself and 3 other people. We started the first African-American-owned telecom utility network marketing company ever. We did that for a while. And then, anybody ever got a relationship and found out later it wasn't the right relationship? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So it was one of those deals, but my first wife had got diagnosed with cancer, and we had a daughter, so I needed to come home and take care of my daughter, make sure she didn't go crazy. And then my stepdad got diagnosed with cancer, and I had a mother, and my mother had to have knee surgery, so then she had to have another knee surgery, then she needed a hip surgery, so I had to come back and be somebody's son and somebody's daddy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I left Atlanta and went back home. And that's when I really kind of understood the situation I was in being such a blessing, because I was still getting income, but I wasn't working because I was taking care of people. And being a caretaker is very difficult, but you learn about yourself if you ever get in that situation, because you can do anything if you care. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot about myself, and it's very humbling because you have to serve a person to another whole level of just loving that person. Are y'all with me? It gets to be very close because it's very intimate when you get sick like that. And then my dad got sick with cancer, and all 3 of them made that transition. And it was kind of amazing because I started to write books and started a speaking, training, and coaching company, things I knew I could do well, and I began to monetize those things, and it all kind of really worked out and took it to another level. And then I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. Anybody ever heard of sarcoidosis? Anybody raise your hand? You heard of it? See, some people have. A lot of people still haven't heard of it, but it runs rampant. A lot of African Americans really get it. And it's a disease that attacks your organs. Now, I had sarcoidosis of the lungs. I went to the doctor, had a physical. I waited to get the results. They called me up, say, Mr. Dently, do you smoke? Never. Say, anybody in your family got TB? At that point, how many of y'all would have been a little concerned? Said, no. She said, we see something and we want to check it out. So now I'm like nervous. Okay, I go get a CAT scan. I got sarcoidosis, lungs excessively scarred. I go get a second opinion. He said, well, if it was cancer, you'd be dead already. So I ain't like him. I never went to see him again because he didn't know how to talk to me. I need somebody to tell me a lie at that moment. And, anybody, can you imagine this? I'm feeling great. I'm in great shape at the time. And you tell you that you got something else, and I start getting the symptoms after they told me. I was like, I can't breathe.
Right.
So then they put me on prednisone. Anybody familiar with prednisone? So I was on prednisone. They said 4 months. It turned out to be 8 years. Ended up getting 125 pounds, and I was really scared then because I was afraid that everything in my body. I was afraid I was going to be a diabetic. I was afraid I was going to have knee surgery. I was afraid I had a heart attack. Everything was going wrong. I had all them fancy suits with my name on them. None of them could button up, right? So here I am with this situation, and I'm coaching. I'm still coaching and doing what I got to do because I'm going to make money, and I'm still not afraid to jump out there. And then a young lady who was a minister told me about holistic eating, eating clean. And she had this class that talked about the different things that are in our food. I'm going to talk about that. And you know what? And I was in her class, but I couldn't make them. They're like an hour and a half away. If you don't know Chicago, it's like in Bellwood somewhere. And I would go to class. She said, James, you need to go to this place called Bella Vita. I said, what's that? She said, it's a retreat. You go there and stay 10 days. And they'll take real good care of you. When you come out, you'll be in good shape. I said, okay, I'll try it. So I went down to Bella Vita, and there was another minister who ran that. It was like Bible study 3 times a day with classes from 6 in the morning to 9 p.m., exercise and no food, just drinking stuff, juicing. And I wasn't hungry one moment. It's amazing. I watched people. I was the only person that was without cancer that didn't have cancer, and I watched people's lives be transformed in 10 days. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I came out of there with a new lease, understanding how to eat differently, but I still was on the prednisone. Then a friend of mine came to me. Anybody got a pack of tea? Let me see some tea. Everybody who has tea. How many people are in the business? Raise your hand. If you have tea, I want you to go in your purse or your pocket and get it.
I don't have it.
What you get? Okay. I'm gonna do 2 things today.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna tell you about the fastest growing network marketing company in the world, which is Total Life Changes. I'm gonna tell you how to make a lot of money and do it part time. How many people don't like to sell? Raise your hand. All right, you're gonna love what I gotta tell you. How many of you guys don't mind selling? You're gonna love it too. It's gonna retrain you. Okay? You're gonna love it because I don't want you to sell it. Okay? Because see, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them what?
Drink.
So I want you leading horses to water. I want you to find some thirsty horses.
Right.
I'm gonna sew all this together. So when we're done, you kind of understand where I'm going with this. Are you with me? Now, our first year we did okay. We went out there grinding. Nobody ever heard of this company before. And then when I got out, the guy gave me a pack of tea. A buddy of mine named Kenny Lloyd. His dad was the first African American to play professional basketball, the first African American coach. He died last year, Earl Lloyd. And you know, I knew Kenny to be a person that could win, but I knew him to be a man of character. And I knew if he had your back, he'd be there. And I was just tired of running stuff. I didn't want to be the man running it. I wanted to help and serve somebody. Does that make sense? I was just tired. You know, so he told me about this detox tea, and I wanted to try it because I understood detoxing the body is like changing the oil in your car. Now, if you're in the business, you got tea, hold it up. All right, put your hands down. For everybody who's in the business and don't have tea, I want it to be the last day you don't ever have it. Because I'm here to teach you to do a couple of things. Some of you guys, maybe 1 or 2, will do what's necessary, and you will be a 7-figure money earner. I can promise you that. Okay? How many people think it's hard to make $1 million a year? Raise your hand. How many people think it's hard to be broke? How many people think it's hard to live paycheck to paycheck? So if it's hard, what difference does it make? You got to do something. Does that make sense? And if I can show you the way to do it and never work 40 hours a week and accomplish that, because I already trained 70 people how to do that. But how many people would be fine if you just made an extra $20,000 a year in your bank account?
No.
How many people, you want to help your church? Can you help your church and give them extra $10,000, $20,000 a year? Okay. If you want to help somebody who's in retirement, how about to take a nice vacation? How about get a new car? How about let's just get the check engine light cut off in the car we got? Can we just work it out? Y'all was getting too serious with me for a minute. Tried to break it up a little bit, get some fallow ground, and too hard. Okay. So he gave me this tea. Of course, I didn't read the directions because this one package makes a gallon. And I didn't read it because there's 2 tea bags in here. And I know how to make tea. I took it and made a cup like you're supposed to. Not supposed to, like you're supposed to, right? So I made a cup of tea and I was stuck in my house for like 3 days. But I knew it. So then somebody said, I said, I'm out of tea. He said, man, since last week. I said, that was done with that in 1 day. So anyway, y'all don't judge me. My point is, if I can do it, you can do it. Because trust me, I'm always be silly because I love life. I've been happy every day for 10 years. Every day. I tried to be unhappy one day. It didn't even work out. I gave it. I give it a shot. Now, so he gave me this tea, and this tea is pretty incredible. This is our flagship product. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to shift gears for a minute. I started drinking this tea, and this was we launched in December 26th. 2013. So let's say 2014 we kind of started. Nobody ever heard of us in the United States. TLC, Total Life Changes, has been around for 15 years. They were already debt-free, but knew nothing here in this country. So when they told us about it, they gave my three friends, a gentleman who introduced me and two other families, the master distributorship. And they came to me, and they came to a lot of people, but I'm the one that looked at it and said, okay, this makes sense. I understand it, because I understood the world. Okay, I understood what the need, right? So we began sharing this stuff. In the first year, probably made about $135,000, but I made 80% of it in the last 4 months. Because we had to start from the bottom. Does that make sense? With nobody, okay? But we start posting results because people do buy results, right? People buy what they see. They buy something that's real. So anybody can say something work, but if it worked for you, it worked for you. It's over. Does that make sense? Right. So what I did was I called 50 people. I said, meet me at Panera Bread. I got someone to share with you. I didn't talk to a person I ever worked with in the industry. I talked to nobody who ever made money in the industry. I talked to people who tried it and failed with other people, and I knew them. But I liked them, because all I wanted was good people. So I asked 50 people to show up, 40 showed, and I gave them this tea. And I could have sold it and made like $800, but I thought I'd give it to them. Let me try. I said, just try it. I said, I want you to weigh yourself before you drink it. And in 5 days, we check back with you, maybe 6 or 7, I get to you. Weigh yourself after that. But tell me how you feel, tell me how you sleep. Okay, tell me how it feels. Just do that for me. I said, if you like it, I think we got a winner. And 22 people came back to me and really liked it, and they joined me. Okay? And those 22 people are now over 90,000 people in different parts of the world. Are y'all with me? Okay. Which helped me the second year make over $1.2 million. Now, there's about six in the second year. Now, it's about 6 of us who've done that, but we got other people who may have that, a quarter of that, a tenth of that. If you made a tenth of $1 million a year, that's $100 grand a year. How many people think they can take the extra 100 grand? You still got your job. Yeah. You still got your business. That's right. You just expanding and you ain't there all the time. Are y'all with me? Right. Okay, y'all with me? Yeah. Even if you got a job you don't really quit, go on a limo, it's fun. Let the boss pull up in their old car, you go up in the limo and just get out every day. How you doing? Oh, just fine, it's making it. Y'all with me? That makes sense? Have some fun. Get creative in your life. No. So what we did was, and I talked about this, and when I give it out, I call it sowing a seed. I'm not saying don't sell it. I'm just not good at that. And if you're good at that, sell it. But if you sell it to somebody who's not good at that, they may think they got to sell it. So I'm saying sell it. You know, you ever sell a bit? Sell a little bit, give a little bit away. Fair enough? Is that cool? Okay, now, let's go back. The company, Total Life Changes, this company is positioning itself to take advantage of a $2 trillion industry. And what I'm going to talk about now is kind of serious because it affects everybody in this room, everybody you know, everybody you care about, everybody you ever see the rest of your life. Because everybody you see has to eat food. How many people would agree with that? Raise your hand if you agree. Yes. Everybody has to eat, right? Now, the problem we have in this country and other countries as well is that the foods we eat to sustain life are now causing complications in our life. Because all of our meats are tainted with high levels of steroids and then antibiotics. Now, why do you give an animal steroids? Why do you give it to a turkey or a cow? So it grow what? Grow faster, right? Grow bigger, right? Okay. Because we buy meat by what? By the pound. So the faster they get to grow, the bigger they grow, the more money they make. True? Why do you give it antibiotics? Because that makes it fat too, but antibiotics because it helps with inflammation. Because what happens when you got a turkey that's so big and it's 3 months old and the bones are still 3 months old? The body is too big to sustain the weight. So the cow's legs are breaking. Are y'all with me? And the cows that don't make it through, they grind it up and they put it in the feed and give it back to chickens and cows. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
So all of our fruits and vegetables are sprayed with high levels of pesticides, poisons, to keep insects away and keep animals away from eating the crop. That makes sense, right? Yeah. The problem is that insects, they become immune, just like we do, to something that they get used to. Their bodies and their body and their anatomy, they get used to something, so they got to make the poison stronger and stronger, to the point we got people who are picking tomatoes, they get cancer, but nobody hears about them because they call them immigrants. You don't hear about them. They don't want to talk about that. But they rinse it off and they put it on our table. So how great God is that we have these bodies that can sustain everything we try to do to it.
Wow.
And then we got trans fats. The FDA has announced about 3 months ago they're going to start removing all the trans fats from out of the foods. Anybody heard that?
Yeah.
Raise your hand, have you heard that? Okay. Now, they've been knowing trans fats have been causing heart disease for 30 years. But they're going to get them out. But they said they're going to do it in 2 years unless the company files for an extension. How many people, if you had a company and you were making money, aren't you going to file for your extension? Anybody ever heard of a product called Hydroxycut?
Yeah.
Hydroxycut, you would take these pills out of Walgreens and at CVS Pharmacy for 10 years, and they would make you burn fat, and they worked until people started dying of liver failure and suing. And it took 10 years to catch up. Okay, then they had to move ephedra out of it, and Hydroxycut went out of business because without ephedra, it didn't work. But with ephedra, you were killing people. Brought to you by your FDA. The
Wow.
Congress has already said that the kids can eat pizza in school because pizza is a vegetable. Most of our foods are genetically modified. Monsanto is genetically modifying 14,500 seeds. It's the same company that brought you Agent Orange. Don't have a lot of regulation. Congress says we don't need to know what's genetically modified. They don't have to tell us. You go buy some cheese sometimes, if it's individually wrapped, it may not always say cheese. It may say a cheese product. Anybody notice that? Because I know if I start talking, you're going to start seeing stuff. Right? But now, I don't know what a cheese product is, but I do know you leave cheese on the counter now, it doesn't melt all the time. It kind of turns flat. You gotta have a grilled cheese sandwich. I was raised on them. Are y'all with me? So it's just, all I'm saying is different. They genetically modified a salmon fish. Anybody heard that? So you're going to have salmon fish. There's fresh fish in your grocery store, but fresh from where? They can make all the oranges the same size now. All the apples the same size now. Because it's appealing to us. Everybody like twins. Oh Lord, Jesus. Oh Lord, stop speaking in tongues up here. Oh, we got to trade a Subaru, Chevy. Okay. My point is that there are 11 countries that won't accept our food because of the medical bills, because we have diseases that nobody has, and they got really good at giving us pills, but then they give you a pill because of the side effect from the pill. So who's making money in this whole deal? So it's money and people getting sick, right? Okay, let's look at Flint and the water supply. Why is it after that happened? Everybody know what happened in Flint, right?
Right.
Okay. After Flint, now we found out 16 other cities had the same problem. But Flint wasn't first.
Right.
Then they were fracking, and some people running water. You could put a cigarette lighter to their water, and again, it's a torch. There's toxins in the air we breathe. Look what happened in California not too long ago. The smog there, you can't even see it. So if we're breathing toxins with, look, I'm not going to leave you on the downside. I got good news, okay? I never bring you out a problem without having a solution. Other than that, I wouldn't bring it up. I'd be like NBC. We won't even talk about it until we got something to say that's going to cheer you up, okay? But how many people would agree with me this makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, everything I said, how many people agree with me? Everything I said right now is happening, right? Okay? And we don't really control that right now because we don't have any money to do that. True?
True.
Okay, now, so I want to talk about the properties of this tea and why it makes a difference, because these are things we can't touch right now and we got to eat. Even vegans, they found that in vegan hot dogs, 2% human DNA. Okay, so I don't know about you, but we got to eat something unless we go just eat space food. We don't even know how they make that. You know they get space food. Who cares? You up there, they blame it on something up there, right? All right, so I want to talk about the product now, because anytime you have a challenge, see, that you can make money or you can create a business, because to create a business, you create value by solving problems for people. Like you're sitting in a chair because people got tired of sitting on a rock. Does that make sense? You got to sit on a cushion on a chair because people got tired of sitting on a hard chair. Does that make sense? So when you look around everything you see and everything around solves a problem, and that's how you build a business. Are y'all with me? You look at Walmart. Would you agree Walmart's pretty successful?
Yes.
You got 5 kids who own it. Their daddy owned a hardware store in Arkansas. Every kid is worth $50 billion. How many people wouldn't want to just get close to their vehicle? So if you get close to that vehicle, you get rich off the exhaust.
Right.
You got to be in the neighborhood of that one. Does that make sense? You got 5 kids worth $50 billion. That's $250 billion that 5 people run, which consequently is more than everybody who look like all of us in this room. That if you're under $50,000 a year, make all together in the whole country. Are y'all with me? And I don't blame you. We live in a capitalist society. You play or you get left.
Right.
Are y'all with me?
Yep.
Okay, now, so I want to try to talk about that. But look at Walmart. Walmart used to be a place you went for housewares and you went for back-to-school clothes. Then they said, well, let's compete with the pharmacy. And they put pharmacies in Walmart, true? Now, when you see an animal get sick, the animal go to the pharmacy. They don't even bring, I don't even think they have a meeting about it. Where do they go? You plant the grass and eat something off the earth like you're supposed to. Everything you meant to sustain your life was supposed to grow out the ground. Right? Right?
Right.
Okay, now. So now, then they said, well, let's compete with Home Depot. They don't have to go there for everything. So now you have to go to Home Depot every time. You can buy hammers and stuff in Walmart, right? Then they said, well, why don't we compete with Office Max? Didn't they do it? Then they said, let's compete with Circuit City and Best Buy. Circuit City gone, online only. Are y'all with me?
Right.
And they underkept Best Buy because nobody can buy as much as they can. Bed Bath & Beyond. Toys R Us. Then they said something. How many business owners we got? I'm a business owner. Let me tell you how to make money in a business. I can monetize anybody in this room. Money can be created. Money's easy to make. Let me share something with you. They ask themselves, where does everybody go when they leave our store? And on Saturday, how many of y'all remember you went out with your parents, your mom, you went to a lot of stores, but you always stopped at one store you had to go to. What was it? Groceries. True? And then they put a grocery store in there? So now you never got to leave. Now you go there 24 hours a day. And you're never going to be the only person in the store, ever. You ever been in a Walmart by yourself? So you see a polar bear on a tricycle before you see that. You're never going to be alone in Walmart, okay? So my point being that when they did that, then everybody else came to them because every company's valuation is based on their customers. How many people know your brand? How many people go to your brand? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to do the same things because I'm going to show you how to make a tremendous amount of money in it or either discretionary income because wealth is kind of built on income you're making outside of what sustains you. But if you own a business right now, wouldn't your goal be to make more money? So I'm going to talk about some things how you bring value to your customers you already have. I work with churches all over the world. We do extremely well with churches because of the motto, because I've been doing it for so long, I know what doesn't work for sure. First of all, I know a pastor doesn't have any time, and second of all, you can't hurt their credibility. Solve both of those issues to make it happen. Because I'm going to talk about products that everybody has to use and going to use anyway. Whether you're with us or not, you're going to spend money on them anyway, so why not get it from you, a friend, a trusted source, somebody can support you. Does that make sense? Okay? And that's how you really build a business and increase your revenue. You're a church or a nonprofit. You're asking people for money anyway, but they're spending money with somebody else after that. So where are they going to spend it? Okay? Now I'm going to go to work and talk about TLC. Can I do that?
Yes.
Can I do that?
Yes.
All right, cool. Talk about the product. Now, how do we market this? We use the most effective way of marketing in the world. It's called word-of-mouth advertising. Everybody in this room is great at it because you've been doing it all your life for free. How many people ever heard somebody say, who did your hair? Who cut your hair? Anybody heard that before?
Yeah.
Now, if you tell them about that barber or that salon, aren't you sending them a customer? And that referral marketing makes them money, right? It builds every type of business. Builds your schools, builds your churches. That's what we do. You ever heard somebody say, where'd you get that sweater? Where'd you get that jewelry? Where'd you get that necklace? Where'd you get that purse? Where'd you get that tie? You ever heard that? Tell them about the department store, that boutique. That's word-of-mouth marketing. How many people have gone to a good movie or a good restaurant lately? Show of hands. Okay, where did you go? Where'd you go? Del Frisco's, good movie? Now, if you a restaurant? Okay. Or was that a movie? No. Okay, good restaurant. Okay, so let's say you tell me about the restaurant, and I go. Wouldn't it be cool if the owner called you up? What's your name? Alicia. They say, hey, Alicia, how you doing? We got your name from James Dently. You referred him to the restaurant. He spent about $180. He was by himself. No, I'm just joking. I'm just trying to see if y'all awake. Okay. You spend $180. We're going to send you a little percentage commission check for sending him some business. And every time he comes back, we'll just send you a check. So we just thought we'd let you know to say thank you. If that was true, how many of y'all would send people to the restaurant?
Right.
Are y'all with me? If you told somebody about a good movie and they went on a referral, say so-and-so said this movie was really good. Have you experienced that before? That's called word-of-mouth marketing. Do we do it? We're going to always do it. How many people want to get paid for it? Okay, good. Now, because you can do that and still work and still have a business, can't you? Because you're going to talk about something anyway. I always say change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Now, this is our flagship product. We have products back there? Oh, okay, trick me. Try to trick me, man. You can't trick me. Okay. All right, I tell you what, we use the slides here. Since I thought we was going to have somebody had in my hand, but that's fine, we'll go back. All right, our flagship product is called our ISO Detox Tea. Now, this detox tea does several things. Now, look at detoxing the body the same way you look at changing the oil in your car. I mean, you would not drive a car for 3 years and never change the oil, right? Right. Okay, because what's going to happen to the car?
It's going to break down.
It's going to quilt up, it's going to get gunky, it's going to break down, right? Okay. But we'll go forever and never detox our body. Now, this is not a laxative, it's not a weight loss tea. But when you drink this tea, 97% of the people will lose 5 pounds in 5 days. The reason why they're going to lose 5 pounds in 5 days is it's going to clean out the intestinal sludge out of your body. Okay, it's made from 9 organic herbs, all natural, they're all organic. We got the holy thistle, persimmon leaves, the marble leaves, the marshmallow leaves, the blessed thistle, papaya, ginger, chamomile, and myrrh. Now, when you drink this tea, this one package makes a gallon. You drink 2 8 ounces a day. Got it? Now, we know 2 out of 5 women are not regular. 3 out of 8 men are not regular anyway. So it's great for constipation, irritable bowel syndrome. Even small children can drink it. Does that make sense? It's plants. Are y'all with me? Yeah. Nothing else in it. Now, when you drink this tea, the reason you're going to lose the weight, and it's not water weight, it's going to clean out the intestinal sludge that's in your colon, because you can have a lot of meals trapped up in your body that never come out for years. Are y'all with me?
Right.
See, that stuff's going to break out. It's not going to force you to go to the restroom. It's not a laxative. It's that when you go, you're going to have a different experience. But stuff's going to come out of there that's been there a while. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
So the person said, well, James, how did you make $1 million in 1 year? I got really good at teaching people how to go boo-boo. I love what I do because it's hilarious. I'm going to make $3 million this year whether you join me or not. Are y'all with me? So I got a course in my life to make people feel better, make people laugh, and make people boo-boo. Is that okay with you? Everybody got to do something. Don't judge me. All right, now. All right, so it's going to get rid of all the intestinal sludge. It's going to help you improve your absorption of nutrients because it's going to get the gunk out of the way. So if you're taking vitamins already, anybody here take vitamins already? Well, you're taking them already, sometimes you get clogged up. If you take a vitamin pill or you take a capsule, you only get like 70% of it anyway because it all doesn't break down, it passes through. We're going to talk about that next. Now, it's going to give you energy through the day because you're going to be cleaner. You're going to feel lighter. Just like you change the oil in your car, it runs better instantly. Is that true? You have to wait a week for it to run better the moment you do it. Are y'all with me? Same thing here, you're going to sleep better. Chamomile relaxes your body. It sleeps better, relaxes your organs. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, it's going to help get rid of the toxins in your blood, heavy metals, and that's going to help you with your memory recall. Sometimes we have cases where people may have inflammation in their body, and all the doctors can give them is Tylenol to manage the pain. Because doctors are not required to take nutritional classes. They don't, that's not what they do. Yes, you go to your doctor, ask them about will this food help you? They don't know. Are y'all with me? Are y'all with me here?
Yes.
Okay. Because we got a lot of people that are really smart, but everybody doesn't know everything. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, it helps you find relief from allergies and hay fever. It's going to clean out the pharmaceutical residue from pharmaceutical and recreational drugs out of your blood. When I was on prednisone, you had to get it out. You had to wean off of it. You just have to clean it out. And by the way, I've lost 92 pounds, and I've been off of prednisone for 11 months now. Are y'all with me?
Woo!
Everything else. Now,
That's awesome.
gets your colon, kidney, livers, and lungs clean and healthy. Helps detoxify chemicals created by parasites, fungus, yeast. Parasites, very important. Anybody here eat sushi?
Yeah.
Okay, then you got a lot of parasites. But you know what? I've seen the most parasites in the smallest people. Usually I see them in a lot of small women. A lot. But we all have them. And anybody here ever crave food in the middle of the night? Just had a craving and it was like screaming, go get it. You finally went and got it.
Yeah.
But to go to sleep. It's not your brain. It is, but it's really the animals